We'll be discussing green cards today, and we'll be touching two main aspects. The one aspect is it better to apply here in Israel in advance? And the second aspect is, how do you expedite an application like this? So first of all, we'll be touching a few points on the green card. We're dealing basically with an American citizen in Israel, because our firm is located here in Israel, that basically is married to a non-American citizen, which could be an Israeli, or it doesn't necessarily need to be an Israeli. And the American now wants to get a green card for the non-American spouse. First of all, it's important to note that the American citizen must pay taxes in the U.S. and have an open tax file in order to be able to even start the process. Secondly, it's important to note that the American must earn at least $26,000 a year in order to support the foreign spouse. However, it's important to note that most of our clients are basically Israeli Americans that never yet lived in America, and the reason they're moving to America usually is work-related, so they don't yet have an income generated in the U.S., and in that case, as an alternative, they need to show capital of at least around 5 times more than this annual salary of $26,000, meaning of around $125,000, so that they can basically support their spouse. If this is not possible either, and there's no capital that they can show, then they need to find a sponsor, a U.S. sponsor, and the U.S. sponsor needs to at least earn $26,000. Now, how do you expedite an application? The standard application basically takes a bit over a year. However, most of the clients usually have an urgency, because most of our clients are, as I said, Israelis that are also American and want to relocate for work purposes. Many of them already have a job waiting for them. And in that case, there is an option to expedite the process. We're dealing with economic reasonings that are good for the U.S. and also important for the American citizen that wants to relocate and start working in the United States. In this case, we can submit a request for expedition of the process before the American embassy. And usually these requests are accepted, and we can expedite the process by around half the time, by around 4 to 6 months. Now, many of our clients or people that contact us ask, why can't we just go to the States and do this from there? Especially now with more lenient visa conditions for tourists, Israeli tourists that visit the U.S. The main reason is the risk you're taking. It's a huge, huge risk. You're violating your tourist visa if you're entering the United States with an intention to stay and get married. You're supposed to apply in advance. So if anything happens and they stop you at the border and they discover this and they detain you and deport you and block your entry, then you're blocked. It's very difficult to reverse this. So this is a huge, huge, huge unwise risk that you're taking. So that's the main reason. Another reason, for example, is that once you enter the U.S., you have no way to work because you're on a tourist visa. And if you work illegally, you're also violating your visa, which can also cause huge problems along the way. However, if you're approved in advance, you go into the States and you're immediately able to work from start. So living in the U.S. without the ability to work for a while isn't so convenient either. But the main reason here is the risk you don't want to take. So basically, bottom line, if you want to expedite the process, you can contact us, and you really should submit the application from within Israel and get approved in advance before you relocate to the States with your non-American spouse to get them a green card and eventually citizenship. Thank you very much for your time. If you have any further questions or clarifications, feel free to contact us.